Every nation has a unique story to tell, and it was unveiled by rulers, leaders who believed in development, peace, and the very best for their countries. And also it goes without saying that diplomacy and diplomats play a pivotal role in working towards achieving the same. Today, our special guest on Diplomatic Faces is His Excellency Badli Hisham Adam, the Malaysian High Commissioner for Sri Lanka. Your Excellency, first and foremost, all the very best.
Thank you.
And a warm welcome here in Sri Lanka.
Thank you.
So, is this your first time to Sri Lanka, or have you been to Sri Lanka before?
This question has been asked to me many times, which I answered, this is my first time.
Okay.
I heard the names of the country many times, but this is my first job as a High Commissioner to Sri Lanka.
And what made you choose the Foreign Service as a career path?
Okay, it's a very long story why I choose to become a diplomat at this point of time. Actually, it started when my late father, who was a teacher, asked me to become a government servant, because he was also a government servant, but he wanted his children, at least one of his children, he has 7, to become a government servant. So that time I was thinking that what kind of career as a government servant. Then I realized that there was a ministry, they call it Ministry of Foreign Affairs, whereby you can become a diplomat as well as ambassador. That's the reason why, because ambassador from during that time when I was informed that they can travel all over the world, they stayed in one country to present the country. So that opened up my desire to work as a diplomat, and Alhamdulillah today I become the High Commissioner of Malaysia to Sri Lanka.
So in 1996 you started at the Malaysian Administration and Foreign Service, and you have completed assignments in Kazakhstan, Turkey and Papua New Guinea. Having represented many of these countries, what do you feel that an ambassador's role should be, or the duty of an ambassador should be when you're representing a different country?
If you talk about our role as a diplomat and as a head of mission especially, is that we are promoting our country, and at the same time we are strengthening the bilateral relations between Malaysia and the country that we are serving in. So a lot of things, it's not just bilateral, but also multilateral kind of things. It's also involve, they call it cultural, education, everything. Everything that can improve the relations between two countries, that is our role, to maintain as well as to improve it to a higher level.
And 1957, Malaysia gained its independence from the British, and ever since then it has been able to establish a growth in economy which is consistent for a very long time. So what sort of decisions did the rulers or your leaders take to maintain this consistency of a very good economy for such a long time?
Okay. If you talk about economy, the basic things is communication. When you have a good communication with other countries, then you can improve your economy. For example, between Malaysia and Sri Lanka, we have a good relations, then we can have a lot of trade and investment. And as of now, as you may well aware, that one of the biggest investors in Sri Lanka is from Malaysian company. It's under the dialogue. It's more than $3 billion investment, the biggest in Sri Lanka. So decision has been made by our leaders is to continue to have a good relations with other country. When they have a good relations, we can have a good trade and investment. So that's the basic things I can share with you.
And when you speak of travel and tourism, Malaysia is considered to be a must-visit destination.
Correct.
And when you speak of Malaysia, the first thing that comes into your mind is the Petronas Towers.
Okay.
And I think even for a kid who has traveled to Malaysia, that's like one of the key iconic things that comes into your mind. I believe it was established, as the highest building in 2004. And also in 2009, Malaysia was reported to be one of the most visited destinations. So this has been like a consistent thing of being a must-visit destination. Okay. So how has Malaysia managed to carry this momentum of a must-visit destination?
To answer that question, when you mentioned about Twin Tower, for example, actually it has the vision is far ahead, not just during that time. When people talk about Twin Tower, still Malaysia has the tallest Twin Tower in the world. The rest is only one. Okay. Malaysia has two. So the vision that our leader has that time was to not just planning or having that thing for 2-3 years ahead. We are planning years in the future. So that is why when we built the Twin Tower that time, it becomes an icon. So that people will see, oh, they must come to see the icon. So continuously people will see, why we should come again to see this icon? Because it's still the tallest Twin Tower in the world. Until now, people can build one, Malaysia built two. That's the thing.
And also, ever since Sri Lanka was the main gate towards the Bay of Bengal, Sri Lanka has maintained a very good relationship with the Malay Peninsula. Okay. So what is our current status with the relationship we have amongst the two countries?
Okay. Before I came here, I met my Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, and he mentioned that he's a very close friend with your President, Ranil Wickremesinghe. So even when he was appointed as a Prime Minister, your President personally called him to congratulate him on his appointment as the new Prime Minister. The relation has always been warm and cordial, and it has been very good since the beginning of even before our independence, because Sri Lanka gained independence 75 years ago, Malaysia is 66 years ago. So Sri Lanka is one of the first country to recognize Malaysia as a nation, and since then we have been very close. As I mentioned before, that the Malay community especially has been here hundreds of years before. So that is the best way to move forward from what we have started 66 years ago when we have the relation.
And Your Excellency, here in Sri Lanka, Buddhism is the main religion that we practice. But we also know that Malaysia has many temples. So what sort of a relationship or a further strengthening can we see based on Buddhism?
Okay, Malaysia is multiracial, multi-social society, multi-religious society. It has Muslim, it has Christian, it has Buddhist, it has Hindu, it has other kind of belief in Malaysia, which we respect in every way that we can. And in fact, in Malaysia, we celebrated Wesak, whereby it is a holiday also for us. Okay. So the relation actually with Sri Lanka is not just because of Buddhism, but the basic things when you talk about Buddhism. Malaysia has one of the largest statue of Buddhists in Malaysia, if I'm mistaken, in Kelantan. So it means that the community, the Buddhist community, most of it is Chinese, has been very close to the Malaysian population. so that we as a multiracial, multisocial society, we respect each other. We celebrate each other. So during Vesak also we visited our friends who practice Buddhism, and during, for example, like this month, Shawwal for the Muslim, the Buddhist people come, the Christian people also come. We live together as a normal people.
And when you speak of the similarities, what do you see as cultural similarities that we have?
Culture, a lot of things. If you talk about culture, since I came here, for example, when I presented my credentials, I saw the way you use the drums. Okay. The drums. It also similarly we have also drums also in Malaysia. So if you talk about food. Okay, culture also related to food, because how you prepare the food also will show that this is your what do you call it, the things that you have in your life in Malaysia as well as in Sri Lanka. As I mentioned about food, nasi goreng, nasi lemak also I have seen it here, and a lot of similarities like dodol.
Okay.
Also, yeah, dodol also is actually is Malaysian.
Okay.
Then we have also in Malaysia. However, in Malaysia maybe we are a bit advanced because we value add it. With last time we have also durian dodol.
Okay.
So the similarities are there between Malaysia and Sri Lanka. And as I said to you also, the elephant that we have in Malaysia, it was also imported last time from Sri Lanka to Malaysia to be used by our royal family in Malaysia.
And Your Excellency, like you mentioned before, Malaysia is one of the major trade partners that Sri Lanka does have, and a key investor as well. So what sort of developments are taking place in the present context that could benefit both the countries?
Okay, we have gone through the what you call the situation last time, COVID-19, whereby both countries has been affected by, not just both countries but other places in the world. Malaysia has been very kind of helping Sri Lanka, not just through bilateral means, but also we have contributed some of the medicine to Sri Lanka during that period. So, if you want to talk about future kind of cooperation or future kind of things to be done between the two countries, there are lots of things. As I mentioned to your government last time, even I mentioned to the President, I mentioned to the Foreign Minister, we are Malaysian, we want to help Sri Lanka through our experience. We have the Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program, whereby every year we offered to few countries, including Sri Lanka, for us to share our experience. One of the things that I highlighted is related to palm oil. The other one is halal ecosystem. The palm oil, because we are the second largest producers of palm oil. And in fact, when I go around this Sri Lanka, I saw there is a plantation of palm oil, which can be developed to help the rural people. Because the income from the palm oil can help family members to stay for many days, exactly, for even a month or whatever it is, based on they planted the palm oil. And the palm oil also has been very good to your health actually. They said 1 spoonful of palm oil can save your heart. Okay. And then when I talk about halal ecosystem, it is a standard actually. Halal is a multi-billion business, whereby they have estimated in 2030 the business will grow up to $3 trillion, which is very beneficial because Sri Lanka has a lot of resources. Malaysia has expertise. Then we can work together to produce halal ecosystem, halal food, halal things, which halal is something that is safe and secure to be consumed. That is, everybody can do, purchase it. So it is good business also for both of us.
Definitely, Your Excellency. And when you speak of our two countries are under the Commonwealth. What measures or how do you see that we could strengthen our bilateral ties under the Commonwealth?
If you talk about Commonwealth, we have been Commonwealth countries since the beginning of the time when we have been colonized by them. In fact, Malaysia has been colonized not just by the British, but also by the Portuguese as well as the Dutch. However, most of the influence has come from the British. And we have a very strong relations with the UK. And I can see also Sri Lanka doing the same. A lot of things can be done between the Commonwealth countries. Not just, as I said, trade and investment, cultural also, we can share, and then we can share all the similarities based on what we have experienced when we were colonized by them. And moving forward, we should find creative ways on how to be together. Not just under the Commonwealth, but also under the UN, because everybody should be together as friends. When we have friends, we have a lot of activities, and it will improve our lifestyle for the future of our generation.
And also, Malaysia has helped Sri Lanka in the UNHRC, as well as many of the international forums. Malaysia stood by us. So, first and foremost, thank you very much. And I would like to know what sort of development corporations are Malaysia looking at when it comes to Sri Lanka?
Okay, when you talk about development under the United Nations, a lot of things, as well as you mentioned the multilateral, ecosystem. We can also cooperate in maritime, for example. In fact, we have requested from Sri Lanka to support us in our bid to become members for the IMO. So, so far we have got the support from Sri Lanka. We are very thankful also. And we are willing to share our experience as a maritime countries also with Sri Lanka. As of now, a lot of things can be done, as I said, but one of the things is the maritime kind of cooperation under the multilateral cooperation.
And also, Your Excellency, as you know, Sri Lanka is going through one of its worst crises after 70 years. And how could Malaysia help us through this critical juncture?
Okay, as you know that Malaysia also has gone through the worst case scenario during the time of our crisis in 1998, whereby our economy also being attacked, by the outside influence. What we can do is that we can share our experience, as I mentioned, to overcome this kind of challenges. Because economy is something that is fluid. It is not something that is staggered. It's always moving. It's a constant. Always changing. However, the experience that we have, we gone through the bad situation in 1998, has given us the opportunity to share with other countries, including Sri Lanka, when you have the problems or challenges economically, then we can share our knowledge and experience in order to overcome these kind of things. However, as I said, even when I discussed with our Prime Minister last time, like Sri Lanka, you are depending more on tourism, for example. And you really need tourism in terms of to get the currency exchange. So we, as a nation, as you mentioned, has a lot of tourists coming to our country. We can share to you some of our design of tourism. For example, one of the things that we have, we call it Muslim tourism. Okay. Why we have the Muslim tourism, Islamic tourism? Because a lot of people from the Middle East who are Muslim, they have a purchasing power. Then they can come to our country and, improve the economy, because they brings the investment, they bring more currency exchange. So how we are going to promote this kind of thing? We must first of all place a foundation, good foundation for them to come to our country. Like Malaysia, when we know that what kind of needs that they want, we provide it. For example, one of the halal ecosystem I mentioned is when they know there's a lot of halal ecosystem in our country, they are happy to come. They can come even takes with their family. The infrastructure are there. They can go. They can choose whatever they like. Ecotourism, medical tourism, you name it. We have that we can share with them, so they can come. So they the one who generate income to our country. That's what we can share with Sri Lanka.
And Your Excellency, with all the experience that you've had, what sort of advice can you give to anyone who's pursuing to become a diplomat or join the foreign service?
Okay, if you talk about Malaysia, first of all, we have to see that what we can do to become a diplomat in order to bring the names of the country to other countries. For example, bring up the names of our country, Malaysia, in other country needs to have knowledge. Nowadays, a lot of knowledge has become more advanced. That all things need to use technology. You cannot live like last time. You just communicate by telephone. And then maybe that time sending letters. Yes. Nowadays, everything must be fast and correct. So you have to master the technology. Then you use the technology to your advantage. So the trainings, you have to have more information. You have to really invest yourself to have more knowledge about the technology. Then you can bring diplomacy or your life as a diplomat to a higher level. So people will see you as in front, not behind. Thank you.
And I guess you also have to have the passion to serve your country and to do something for the country, for the world, for the people. So that is also part of, being a diplomat and diplomacy, because the little things that you do actually carries a long way for the peace, for the development of the world itself. Mm-hmm. So, Your Excellency, thank you so much. I take this opportunity to thank you and your government for all the support you've given Sri Lanka. And you all have been there for us, so thank you. And like you mentioned, there's so much more that our countries can do together. So looking forward to having that relationship and prospering, as countries. So thank you and all the very best to you and your family.
Terima kasih kembali. That is our word for thank you.